So in the latest snapshot, Mojang added this block, the cushion, which you just place it down and you can sit on it. But little did they know that they just revolutionized building and redstone forever. So basic rundown of the cushion, it comes in these 16 beautiful wool colors, and it is actually a placeable entity and not a block. As you can see, I can run through these, and they actually have no hitbox, and when I pull up a map, they are invisible on the map. If you want to place it with commands, you have to use the summon command instead of the fill command. And just like any other entity, if you do F3 plus B, you can see their hitbox. But now, the most interesting feature of the cushions, the way you can place it. Mojang lets you place this thing on any flat surface. So here's a pressure plate, so it is 1 pixel above the ground. Here's a shelf, so we can actually put it on this lower bit of the shelf, and on the top bit, you can put it on top of a fence, you can put it on the side of a chain, you can put it on some stairs like this, on some slabs, and you can also still sit on it like this. And not only can you place cushions on top of blocks, like this beautiful cushion blanket that Steve has right here, you can also place cushions inside of blocks. So you can see, this is just a cushion on top of a bed like this, but you can go a little bit lower, and even so low that you can't see the cushion. It does make it a little bit harder to sit on, you do have to click a few times, but there we go. I am sitting on the Minecraft bed without any cushion visible. And this is the first trick you gotta learn when you're using cushions. You can actually put it on some supporting blocks and then temporarily break it and replace it with something else. So if I want this little 1 pixel cushion sticking out, I just have to place 3 snow layers like this, 1, 2, 3, place my cushion on top of it, and then break and replace the snow layers with a bed. And as you can see, the cushion is still on the bed, so it's not gonna pop off. But if I break the bed, the cushion will eventually pop off like that. If you want this flat version of the bed, you need a large amethyst crystal, I believe. So you just place this, place your cushion on top, and then break and replace this crystal with the bed. Now, when it is hidden like this, like I said earlier, it is a little bit harder to right click because you are fighting with an entity hitbox versus a block hitbox. So I'm like spamming right click. There we go. Finally, I am now sitting on the bed. And because of that, you can do diabolical things to other players. Now here's the same break and replace trick, but with stairs and slabs. So if you want a 1 pixel cushion on top of a stair or a slab, you take a large amethyst bud, you put your cushion on top, and then you just quickly break and replace it, and boom, you have 1 pixel of cushion and you can sit on your stairs and slabs. Or if you want a fully hidden cushion like this, you do 2 snow layers, then your cushion, and then your stair and slab, and now you can sit on this stair. If I right click hard enough, there we go, finally. And boom, I am sitting on a Minecraft stair, just like how everyone wanted to in like 2011 with the minecarts. Another fun trick is placing them on comparators and repeaters, and with a couple of green blocks like this, you can make your own mini CraftyMastermans by just dropping various green items on top like this. There we go, there's a CraftyMasterman version 1, and let's take the other green blocks and just drop them all over my head over here. It looks a little bit silly, I can't lie, but look at that. We have 2 CraftyMastermans with some dropped items, some repeaters and comparators for the eyes, and then a brown cushion for, the rest of my face. Similarly, you can do a redstone snake. I saw this in a green video, and it's honestly one of my favorite build hacks with the redstone stuff like this. And the way it works is that we have a blue cushion on top of a comparator for the head, so it has these little torches poking out. And then for the rest of the wires, we're either putting them on the ground like this, so it fully hides the redstone, or you can put it on top of the redstone so it goes up by 1 pixel. And you can do a little bit of variety like this, and you can have a bit of a 3-dimensional bumpy redstone snake. Here's another little build I made of an apple that we can put a birch sapling on top of like this, and oh my god, it looks like an apple core with the little leaves and stem on top. Another popular technique for the cushions has been making these full stacks of cushion rainbow blocks. So we've got the bisexual block over here, we've got the bisexual chest over here, and the bisexual honey over here. And we have this giant rainbow wall which you can actually collide on like that. So the way this works is that we need a fence post, you can also use a stair, and then, my snow layers are gone. But you take snow layers and a cushion, and you first put a cushion on the ground, then you look at the fence or the stair, this works the same. You put 2 snow layers, and then your next cushion, and then another 2 snow layers, then your next cushion, and then your last 2 snow layers, and then your final cushion, and then you can just break and replace this with a supporting block. Now this supporting block has to be a non-full block, so that's why things like a chest work, or honey, or what's in here is actually a chain, but the most interesting one is the decorated pot, which I can't actually pick block. But basically what it does, if I break and replace this with a decorated pot very carefully, come on, boom, boom. Okay, I didn't really do it, but the decorated pot hitbox is almost a full block. So it kind of lets you collide into these cushion walls like that. All of these are decorated pots on the inside. I can actually remove the top. There we go. They're the decorated pots, and you can kind of crash into this rainbow wall. And another popular build hack have been these stair patterns in the ground. They look so cool. You can make text like this, or you can make various cool floor patterns. I saw on Twitter someone made road markings with stairs and the cushions, and they look absolutely insane. You can also make a magic subscribe button that makes everyone watching this subscribe. This one's also pretty simple to make. You just dig a hole in the ground and you place 6 snow layers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You place a cushion on top. As you can see, it is flush with the ground, and then you replace the snow layers with a stair block like this. So now you have a half and half block, and you can do so many things with just this technique alone. Like I said, the possibilities are endless with the cushions. Now that's a lot of cool building stuff, but this is a redstone channel. So how about the redstone stuff you can do with the cushions? One of the first things I thought of was making this kind of arcade claw machine using the copper golem as the joystick. And the way we do this flush version is we do 5 snow layers or 6. Let me actually check. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then the cushion. Okay, so it's 6 snow layers, and then you break and replace with the copper golem, and then you can put like the trapdoors around to hide it. And if you want to change the pose, you can actually change the height of the little joystick bit. So this is like the default standing pose. If we want it super low, we can do the sitting pose, and then the other 2 poses, like there we go. Those are all the heights for the joystick. But if you want a functional joystick, you actually need it to be 1 snow layer lower like this. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then the cushion, and then the copper golem. And now no matter the pose, you can actually access the copper golem hitbox on the top like this. You will occasionally sit on it, and I think the top of his head would make that very painful. But either way, a cool thing you can do with this is that you can actually read a copper golem out with a comparator, and we can do a cool little joystick selection like that, and when it's completely full, the note block goes off, and we're doing that because a comparator can actually read the pose of a copper golem from signal strength 1 to signal strength 4, and then we just have this little dust tower powering all of these lamps one by one. At the very beginning of the video, you saw me put a pressure plate under one of these cushions, which means you can make a whoopee cushion! Oh my goodness. So there's actually a bunch of different ways you can use pressure plates and cushions, and there are 3 main functionalities. So first we have a stone pressure plate, and then I can just either step on it like this and fart, or I can sit on it and the player hitbox actually pokes a little bit beneath the cushion and activates the pressure plate. And then underneath, we just have a note block on top of some oxidized copper to make that beautiful a fart sound. Now when we use wooden pressure plates, it's a little more interesting because when I power it, it stays on because the cushion is an entity. And if you know anything about wooden pressure plates, is they will activate when they have any kind of entity on top of it. Players, items, mobs, doesn't matter. Which also means if you put a lamp with a wooden pressure plate on top, with a cushion on top of that, and you activate it, you can have your own floating always on lamp. You could put this on top of like a fence post and have some nice always on street lights with some nice cushion tops like this. And the last pressure plate is the weighted pressure plate. Now this one is super interesting. In case you don't know how the weighted pressure plate works, it actually counts entities. So if I just have like 3 redstone dust coming from this weighted pressure plate, if I step on it, I am 1 entity, so I'm only going to activate a signal strength of 1. But if I have like 3 different items on this, for example, so this is entity number 1, entity number 2, and then entity number 3, you can see now we have a signal strength of 3. And you also notice that when the signal strength goes up, it is actually completely silent. So from 1 to 2, there is absolutely no noise. And because the cushion is an entity, you can have the cushion activate the redstone like this, and now you have a completely silent pressure plate, which you could use for traps and who knows what, it's absolutely crazy. And now we have possibly the most revolutionary redstone use for the cushions, working LEDs behind me. Look at this. Look how cool this looks. It is literally 2 blocks. It is a lamp with a cushion clipped into it, and it just looks, it's just an LED. How do we make this thing? Well, this is currently uses a bug with cauldrons, composters, and hoppers, but basically, you can place cushions inside of these blocks at any height, even sub-pixel height, which means you can get some varying pixel height like this, which looks super cursed, but for the cushion LED specifically, you just need to place it around this 4th pixel right here until the top looks completely flat. Same with the composter, you put it at like pixel number 4, and it is a little bit inconsistent. Come on, there we go. Yeah, you could see it's a little bit inconsistent, but that should still work anyway. And then you just break and replace these blocks with a light source, like a lamp, like that. And it turns black because that's what entities do when they are clipped inside a block. Let me show you with an armor stand real quick. And I zero tick this redstone lamp into the armor stand. You can see it turns completely black, but if we light up the armor stand, you can see the armor stand gets lit because the block it is clipped on is now also lit up. That is basically how this cushion LED works. Now, Mojang has said that they would patch this sub-pixel alignment placement that you can do with these cauldrons, composters, and hoppers, but hopefully it won't be patched out of the game because you can do the same thing with wall signs and banners. So you can see we have a sign on a wall, and if I place my cushion on top, and I can place my cushion on top like this, and I break and replace these blocks, it is still dark like that, like these previous LEDs, and we can still turn them on and off. And instead of redstone lamps, you use a copper bulb. You can have 4 different brightnesses with the oxidation levels. You can see this yellow is way brighter, and then this yellow is a lot more dim, but either way, they are still noticeably turned on. So what have I built with these beautiful LEDs? Well, you can already see the first thing behind me. We have a cop car with some sirens. We just have a red cushion over here, a blue cushion over here on top of some copper bulbs. It kind of sounds more like a blinker. But of course, everyone wants to make a disco floor if you can make colored lights. So we have the Skulk disco floor. And this looks really cool with the way the circle, like, from the Skulk works. I'm gonna turn this down, bro. I'm, like, actually yapping. But yeah, this looks really cool, especially with how, like, it goes out in a circle, kind of just like how a Skulk sensor looks. And the way this one works is also pretty simple. If I just break through the side over here, it's just a bunch of these slices. We have the LED on top, a block, an observer, and then a Skulk sensor right under, and that's just detecting wherever we step. It sends an update to the observer, and that activates the corresponding LED. Now, another thing to note is that this giant square, you know, is way bigger than just individual LEDs, so you're probably wondering, wow, Crafty, it probably took forever to place all of these if you're just using the manual sign or cauldron method. Well, lucky for you, shout out to Legitimus, if you have a lamp like this, and if you place an armor stand and you just copy this command over here, basically what this does is it summons a cushion right under any armor stand you place, at the perfect height to where it can clip like that. And I chose the color purple, and now we have a purple LED. And because of that amazing command build hack, we can now make fun, cool patterns. Look at this. We have my face, and we also have this diagonal disco floor, which looks really cool, and these LED floors look sick. So here we have some 7-segment displays. If I push all of these buttons, they will go up by 1, and all the segments are nice and synchronized, and it looks really cool. And this thing is also spam-proof, so I can just spam this button to my heart's content, and we can go through the numbers. And it also has a carry function, so I'm just gonna get it to 9. Let's see, 6, 7, 8, nope, 2 more, 9, and this should ripple and go to 20. So this is gonna take a bit, so it turns off. This is gonna go to 0, and this 1 is going to turn into a 2 after some time. Come on, there we go, and it carries like that. This is the redstone for the 7-segment display. On the top, we have some torches activating each of the lamp segment. There are 7 segments. We have the bottom, the middle, the top. That's 3, and then we have 4 side segments, and they're all powered with these torches. And then they all go to the side over here into this big torch tower, and every single one of these layers is just a different number, and it just powers a different amount of these torches. So if we go to the very bottom, this is 0 because you can see we have 6 repeaters here out of the 7 segments, which means every single segment except the middle is gonna power, and that gives us 0. And then for the counter, we have this terrible, horrendous dropper elevator. It's genuinely so bad wiring. But it basically pulses it twice, and it carries the item from one thing to another. You can see these are all the comparators, so here is number 1 right now, and if we power it twice, this item is going to go up 2 droppers into the next comparator. So let me just push the button again real quick. It's going to go down. And there we go, now this comparator has powered. But as well as 7-segment displays, we have some games like tic-tac-toe. So we can do X's, or if you flick the other lever, you can do an O. And this one is pretty easy to see how it works. You can see that the X and the O like never overlap each other. So we just activate different redstone lamps under this depending on which lever is flicked. And you can make some really nice looking games. On Twitter a while back, I saw someone made a sine wave using a minecart going in a circle with a mob in it and some redstone lamps, so I decided to make my own version of the sine wave using the new LEDs, and it looks really cool. Like, this thing is gonna go all the way around and we get a beautiful sine wave motion. This doesn't look like Minecraft. This looks absolutely insane. Now, I know what you must be wondering, CraftyMasterman, if you have all of these LEDs, then surely you can make a color TV in Minecraft with some RGB pixels. And that is true. J2KO, who's a really cool redstoner who about a year ago made some RGB LEDs using some redstone lamps and some maps, he's gone ahead and tried to make a version with these new cushion LEDs. So this is one module over here, and if we just go to like signal strength 4 and we go up to here, you can see we get a dim pixel, but we can also just go higher. So let's say we do signal strength 10, and as you can see, a little bit brighter, and then we can go all the way to the max, which is 15, and this is the brightest red pixel, and we can go back down again. And now here is a big 3x3 version of a potential RGB pixel. Again, this is all very proof of concept, so if I can make this 11, if I make this 15, if I make maybe this pixel like really dim, like 5, and we can start, powering these pixels by unlocking this comparator, and we go to the top, you can see we have some different varying levels of brightness. This one's the dimmest, and then it goes all the way bright like that, and just to show that it's like, tileable individual pixels, there we go. There is one pixel, and none of the other ones light up, and it looks really cool, and we're just using some like tinted glass trickery to make like every single like tube isolated. Now remember when I said earlier that you can use different oxidation stages of the copper bulbs to get different brightnesses from the LEDs. So this is that full palette. This is the 16 colors of cushions with 4 different brightnesses from the copper bulbs, including an all off version because they aren't like perfectly pitch black. You can see that black completely turned off is the closest thing to perfectly pitch black. But this gives you, how many colors is this? Editor, CraftyMasterman, do the math of how many different colors you get. But this way, you don't have to deal with all of this like complicated, isolating pixel redstone stuff. If you want to make like very basic light pixel art with some copper bulbs and some completely turned off LEDs, you can also do that, which is like really cool. So cool, in fact, that I decided to actually do it. So here it is, one of the very first enormous color images made with cushion LEDs. This big, fat, 3-bit RGB parrot, slowly going from the top left corner to the bottom right. It'll eventually get to the end. But yes, this is a giant pixel art made out of these cushion LEDs. It is covered in copper bulbs, cushions, and then we just got a bunch of observer spam to activate this in a beautiful, big diagonal corner. And this thing looks crazy.